Good morning. Welcome to Mobility Lab. My name's Lisa. Just starting a couple minutes early as usual to let people join and grab their stuff. This week we are going to need, as usual, a yoga block or something to sit on. Haikoi. If you have a couple of bigger pillows, I normally use this one for our practice. I'm grabbing a second sort of fat pillow this time. So grab 2 pillows today. If you want a blanket, grab a blanket, yoga block, any other supports you need for class today. Good morning. Getting ready to start Mobility Lab. Welcome. Grab a couple fat pillows, yoga block. We don't need a lot today, but 2 pillows would be great. Something to sit on for meditation. Right, so it's 10 o'clock. I'm going to get started talking because it's always too much talking anyway. So we'll let other people join as we proceed. So if you're just joining us, welcome to Mobility Lab. My name is Lisa. As always, we're going to need a couple of bigger pillows for class today. So something to lay back on to support us in a reclined position, and either a yoga block or a meditation cushion or some other kind of cushion to sit on for meditation. So go ahead and grab what you need for class, and I'm going to start my yapping. This is our last week of April. In April, our theme for the month has been open or allowing. We really focused our meditation practices and our yin practices this month on enhancing our receptiveness to what is presenting itself in the present moment. Relinquishing control, trusting ourselves, welcoming what emerges. So last week we focused on gratitude as a quality of presence that arises from paying attention. A quality of presence that arises from paying attention. So a little bit of a different spin on gratitude last week. Something that requires being present with everything that arises, both internally and externally, and taking a posture of tender and wakeful receiving and openness. And today I'd like to go a little bit deeper and maybe in a slightly different direction into what is required of the posture of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude, by focusing on the concept of Santosha. And this is a yoga concept introduced in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which is one of the sacred texts of yoga. And within it, the yamas and the niyamas are sort of like the 10 commandments of yoga. They're the sort of ethical guidelines that are laid out in the first limbs of the Eightfold Path. But very simply put, the yamas are the things that you don't want to do, or the attitudes that you don't want to take, and the niyamas are the things that you do want to do, or attitudes that you want to cultivate in yourself. So Santosha is one of the niyamas. It literally translates as contentment. But let's take a little bit closer look at this. And for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. This is Mobility Lab. Grab a couple of bigger pillows today. We want 2 pillows. And a block or a meditation cushion, something to sit on to meditate. Welcome. So Santosha, the attitude of contentment, is not about being happy. I want to make that distinction. This is not about don't worry, be happy. It's more about finding a way to be content with what is happening right now, even if it's hard or negative. And so rather than rushing to solve the problem or to fix the situation or to even soothe the discomfort, Santosha requires that we let go, that we open up our fists and surrender to the experience of the present moment. Remembering that this too shall pass, but more than that, remembering that there are things that we can learn and ways that we can improve even within the discomfort, even within the dissatisfaction or the negativity of what's happening now. So one of the other directives in the Yoga Sutra is to maintain an evenness of mind in pleasure and pain. So this is starting to get to what we mean by Santosha. And it's easier said than done. It's not something that we can just access. It's something we have to practice. Our practices of meditation and yoga really help us to get there by embodying these attitudes in small ways, such that the more we practice, the more easily we can take those attitudes when it really matters. Replacing habits of negative storytelling, urgent problem solving, or compulsive numbing, which is some things that really come naturally to many of us, with a stance that involves more equanimity, more breath, more ease, and less mental and emotional suffering that we can cause for ourselves. And so what if what is happening right now really sucks? Which it kind of does for many of us. What if you've had a physical injury or a setback, you've lost your job, or I don't know, maybe there's a global pandemic happening? These are the moments when those negative tendencies really try to shine. They really try to take over, sometimes in sort of an autopilot kind of way. For me, this means white knuckling. This means pushing harder. This means doubling down. I'm kind of a type A endurance athlete, and this is what I train for, right? Times are tough, but I'm tougher. That kind of attitude. And the more I sit with those tendencies in myself, the more I can see them for what they are. The efforts to reduce uncertainty and guarantee a desired outcome. And the more that I see them for what they are, the more I realize that the harder I hold on or push through or try to control, the more turmoil and disappointment I feel, with no real change in the chances of success. So I'm not advocating complacency. I want to be clear about that too. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try and solve our own problems. There's absolutely a place for problem solving. But the practice of Santosha introduces the idea that problem solving can be most effective and successful only if we allow the current situation to be what it is first. And this is the great paradox that change requires an acceptance of the current state. Change requires an acceptance of the current state. It's a really hard thing to wrap our heads around, at least for me anyway. That if we want something to be different, we have to first accept it as it is right now. So, as we've talked about before, whenever we're faced with an unhealthy tendency in ourselves, we should turn our attention to cultivating its opposite. So the more I tighten my grip around things I can't actually control, the more I try and visualize an opening of the palm, for instance. So today I invite you to examine the automatic tendencies within yourself and open yourself up to taking an attitude of Santosha or contentment by allowing the present situation to be exactly as it is. And as we practice today, notice the stories that arise. Notice the urges to control or change things. And become aware of any attachment you have to a desired outcome, whether that's comparing yourself to someone else or telling yourself that you're not enough, that you should be something different than you are. And what if you ask yourself today as you practice, what would happen if I loosened my grip? What would happen If instead of clinging to the riverbank, I let go and allowed the current to take me? And what if I trust that even if I fail or if I fall, that this too can become a stepping stone towards something greater? So, enough talking. Let's get to our meditation practice. So grab your cushion or your yoga block, whatever it is you're going to sit on for meditation today. Grabbing my buckwheat pillow. And find an easy, comfortable seat. A seat that allows your spine to be upright. Take a moment just to get settled, to become grounded, and allow the eyes to close. Lifting up through the crown of the head, make your chest proud and wide. Make your belly soft, and your spine tall. And take a moment to connect with the groundedness of your seat. Feeling the earth beneath you and the support you're receiving. Feeling that you are of this earth. And connect with the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Taking a deep inhale, fill the lungs and hold it at the top. And taking one more sip of air, hold. And now on the exhale, open the mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. And let's do that twice more. Inhale fully, biggest breath of the morning. Sending the breath deep into the belly and then allowing it to rise to fill the lungs and expand the chest. And then hold at the top. Hold. And release. Sigh it out. Let it go. Let everything go. And then once more, we're going to take a really big breath and hold at the top. So inhale, fill up. Hold. One more sip of air. And then let it go. And now let go of any urge to control the breath. Just letting the breath breathe itself. Gentle rise and gentle fall. And now begin to zoom out. With closed eyes, begin to widen your inner lens of gentle and open awareness. And take this moment to recognize the gifts that are present. You're here, connecting with the earth, connecting with your breath, connecting with a community of like-minded badasses. The sun is shining. And now I invite you to call to mind an event or a memory that's the source of negative emotion or difficult experience, either from the past or when you're working through in the present right now. And the story of the event is not the focus. What matters in this moment is the feeling of the event or the memory, and finding where it resides in your body. And continue to breathe gently as you remember. And begin to observe where you can sense tightness or gripping, resistance, tingling, even numbness. And as you become aware of the physical sensations of emotional tension, begin to observe your bodily reactions, patterns of holding in the body, patterns of resisting the current experience. And allow yourself to become gently familiar with the landscape of this place, that inner landscape, while staying on the outer edges of it, not diving into story, not diving into the details of what happened and when and by whom. Remain in this wide open, zoomed out awareness. Let this be a bird's eye view. And continue to breathe while acknowledging and exploring that physical tension. And now go back into groundedness. The earth, being supported, being right here. And as you sit, invite tolerance for tiredness, sighing, wiggling, even tearing up if that's what's happening for you. Recognize these as the ways that the body releases tension. And observe the gift of that tension leaving your body. And now bring into awareness an intention to let go, a willingness to let go. Expressing internally that willingness to release the unpleasant memory or the unpleasant experience or event. Without forcing your way there, just open your fist. Unhinge your jaw. And now take a deep inhale. Once again, filling the lungs to their capacity. And then exhale, let it go. Another inhale, fill up the lungs. And exhale, let it go. And one more, fill up. Exhale, let it go. Drop your chin to your chest. Just let the head hang there for a moment. And then gently blink the eyes open, lift the gaze. Before we begin our yin practice, I want to take just a couple minutes to do a tapas practice. And for those of you who've been participating in Mobility Lab for the last several months, some of you may have practiced this with me before. But the practice of tapas, well, tapas is another of the niyamas, and it literally means discipline. But a tapas practice is something that generates discomfort, generates heat in the body, and presents an opportunity for us to practice evenness of mind, practice Santosha, practice that discipline of returning to the present experience and staying with it. So in order to do this, we're going to have to create a little discomfort in our bodies. This is something that I often include in a prenatal yoga class. So for those of you who have not had kids or who will not have kids, here's your chance to experience even just a tiny bit of what that might feel like. So we're going to take a goddess arms stance. So taking your palms facing up, about shoulder height, elbows bent, and just hold the arms here. Sit up nice and tall. Keep the chest open and keep breathing. Let me check my clock because we're going to hold this posture for, we'll start with 3 minutes. See how that feels. Maybe we can go to 4. So as you sit, holding this posture, you'll notice that the longer you hold your arms up, the more sensation arises in your shoulders and your neck. We're not holding any weight, we're just holding our arms. But you'll be surprised, potentially, with how much sensation that this can actually create in your body. So just keep holding. We're about a minute in now. And you can keep your eyes open, finding a single point of focus, or closing your eyes and turning the gaze inward. And I really recommend closing the eyes. Really exploring the physical sensation as it builds. The discomfort that starts to arise in the body. And then begin to notice your mental and physical reactions to that. Maybe you want to drop your arms. Maybe you are chastising yourself for not being able to just hold your arms up for 3 minutes. Maybe you're feeling like you should be stronger. I want you to drop those stories. At the very least, notice them when they come up. And breathe. Continue to have this experience. That's 1 more minute down. And keep holding. I have to say, this is a lot more fun usually when I can see people's faces. You can see mine though. Keep holding those arms. Sitting with the sensations that are coming up. Sitting with the discomfort. For me, it's usually around the end of this 3rd minute that I begin to start feeling a lot. Let's do 30 more seconds just for fun. Holding right here and breathing. Drop the shoulders from the ears. Keep that spine upright. Loosen the fingertips. Loosen the jaw. And release the arms down. Release the chin to the chest, drop the head. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe give your shoulders a little massage. We're going to do 1 more of those tapas practices before we jump into our yin practice. So now I want you to take your thumbs up out to the sides. So both thumbs up, pointing at the sky. And just begin to make some figure 8s with those thumbs. And again, we're going to do this for 3 to 5 minutes. Sometimes the dynamic tapas practice is more difficult than the static one, or vice versa. It's interesting to note that about yourself. So just keep making those figure 8s. And again, eyes open are fine. Just soften that gaze or find a point of focus, or close the eyes. Maintain full awareness of what's happening inside. Sensation is rising. Stories are starting to be told about how much this sucks, how much you're just ready to get on with your yin practice. This is not why you started this class this morning. This was supposed to be about relaxation. Drop it. Stop all of that. Just keep going. We're about 90 seconds in. Let's keep doing for 90 more seconds. Breathe. And stay with it. Thirty more seconds. You got this. Just notice the experience of holding the discomfort. And release the arms. Again, drop the chin to the chest. And breathe. Give yourself a little squeeze again. Maybe massaging out the shoulders a little bit. And then on the next inhale, we'll bring the arms up overhead, reaching up through fingertips. And then on the exhale, just take the right arm down, reach the left arm up and open, or up and over rather. Spiraling the rib cage open, breathing into the side of the rib cage. Expanding through the side body. On the next inhale, press off the mat, reach up through fingertips again, lift the gaze, lift the heart. And then on the exhale, left hand comes down to the mat, right arm reaches. And breathe, expand with the inhale. And soften with the exhale. On the next inhale, press off the mat, reach up through fingertips again. And then exhale, float the arms down and take those hands back to the knees. And again, drop the chin to the chest on the exhale. And now on the inhale, take the left ear to the left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. And keep breathing through these half circles. Exhaling through center, inhaling ear to shoulder, releasing the neck, releasing the shoulders. Couple more cycles, one more cycle each side. Exhale through center, inhale ear to shoulder. And then exhale through center, and this time inhale, just lift the chin off the chest. Eyes open. Take any blocks or cushions that you're sitting on out from underneath you. Now let's move to our mats now. Taking the knees wide and the toes touching. Let's find our child's pose. So again, knees as wide as the mat, toes come to touch. Sit the hips down towards the heels and reach the arms out. Lower the forehead down to the mat. And just rest in child's pose. allowing room for the belly between the knees. The belly is soft. And we're going to hold child's pose for 3 minutes. Release any tension that built up in those tapas practices. Just let it all go right now. Expansive breath, sending the breath to your root, to your low back, your sacrum, sits bones. Creating space on the inhale and softening on the exhale. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, I invite you to rise up, coming to tabletop, and then shifting back to sit on the heels. And I'm going to turn towards the camera. So I want you to lean forward and tuck the toes underneath you. So we're going to be sitting on the toes, turning to the side. So you can see my toes are tucked underneath me. And then sitting back on the heels. So this is another little tapas thing for us to do. It also is working on foot and ankle mobility. This is a tough one. So just sit for about another minute. Maybe we can go longer. Right here on the toes and heels. We're going to notice those reactions in your mind and in your body to that discomfort. And if you don't feel discomfort in this, then I don't want to talk to you because this is crazy, just uncomfortable for me. Whew, notice tingling. Notice that sensation building. $20 more seconds. See if we can just hold here for 20 more seconds. You got this. Soften the face. Don't clench that jaw. 10 seconds. Inhale, rock forward. Come to the palms of the hands. Uncurl the toes, and let's bang them out a little bit. Feeling that rush of blood back to the feet. Just gonna let it go for a second. And then coming fully to tabletop, knees right underneath hips and hands right underneath shoulders. Let's extend the left foot back. Just extending the legs. And maybe slightly pushing into the hands so you get a little calf stretch and a knee extension. And then turn the left toes of that extended leg towards the side of the mat, staying on the right knee. Make sure that right hand is directly underneath the shoulder. And then just begin to lift up, reaching up and over, finding our gate pose. We don't do this pose very much in yin because it's more of an active posture. But just take a moment to lengthen the side body. Pressing down through the back foot, staying rooted through the right knee and the right palm, reaching through left fingertips. And on an exhale, gently float that left hand back down to the mat. Bring the left knee back underneath the hip, and then we're going to do the second side. So extend the right foot back, extending that right knee, pressing through the mat just slightly, and getting a bit of a calf stretch. And keep breathing. Stay soft in your attitude, stay soft in your body. And then pick up the right toes, turn them to face the right side of the mat. And once again, stay rooted through your left knee and left arm, left hand, as you reach the right arm up and over. Pressing into the right foot for stability, reaching through right fingertips and breathing into the side of the rib cage. Expanding and lengthening, creating space. And then on an exhale, float that right hand back down to the mat, bringing the right knee back underneath you. And then let's just take a few rounds of cat-cow breath. So in the inhale, lift the gaze, lift the chin, lift the sits bones, belly softens. Exhale, press through the mat, curl the spine upward. And inhale, lift. And exhale, press through the mat, curl it up. And just move with your breath, linking breath to movement. Loosening up the spine, softening any tension in the shoulders. And on the next inhale, come to a neutral spine. Begin to walk the hands out in front, keeping the sits bones lifted, moving into Anahatasana pose. So hands are reaching forward, forehead is melting down through the upper arms. So heart melting pose or puppy dog pose. And opening through the shoulders. And lengthening of the spine. Once again, soften the belly. Here for a few more seconds. And on the next inhale, begin to walk the hands back underneath the shoulders, finding your tabletop position again. And then coming back to sit on the knees. You may want to grab a yoga block or a cushion here. We're going to move into half saddle. So we're going to first do this position with the right leg extended. So extend the right leg out. If you can sit directly on the ground, here with the left leg bent backwards, the foot is outside of the hip. That's great. If that's too hard on the knee, take some height with a yoga block or a cushion just underneath the sits bones. And especially if your hamstring is really tight, a little bit of support is always great. A little bit of height is always great. So scoot a little bit forward on your mat. If you need height, take the height under your sits bones. And now grab your two cushions that I mentioned earlier and place them behind you. And make a little Eiffel Tower to lay back on. So I'm going to take the block out because I find that that makes it a little more difficult for me. But if you need that block, keep it. So once you arrive in your shape with the right leg extended, the left calf or shin is tucked back. You can stay right here if this is enough sensation. This is already challenging. If you'd like to lay back onto your pillows, just gently ease your way back. And then let the arms fall out to the sides. Palms face up or palms face down. And breathe. You're getting an opening through the hip flexor on the left side. Compression of the knee joint. Lengthening of the quad. An opening through the chest. So the pillows behind you and underneath you allows you to open your chest. It's a nice heart opening position. So just soften into the shape and breathe. Hold here for 1 minute. Big expansive inhale, broadening through the chest. And on the exhale, you can roll a little to the side. Use your elbows to ease your way back up. And then scoot your pillows off to the side for the moment. And then shift forward, coming onto the left knee. Taking the right foot to the outside of the hands, extend the left leg back. So we're moving into a dragon lunge from that half saddle. So we're gonna now extend that left leg that was tucked up underneath us. You might feel a rush of fresh blood and oxygen to that knee joint. Again, continuing to work on opening that left hip flexor. And you can stay lifted on the palms here, or you can lower down to elbows or onto a block. If you're lowering down, make sure that the toes are pointing in the same direction as the knees, or as the knee, so you don't have too much twist on the knee. And breathing through this dragon lunge. I'm going to hold here for just a few more seconds. And we're going to take one more variation on this as an option. You can stay here in your normal dragon lunge, or you can take your right hand to the right knee and move into a twisted dragon. Just getting a little bit of a twist. Deepening that stretch of the hip flexors. We've been doing a lot of squats lately. Those can make your hip flexors super tight. So if you're in your twisted dragon, just continue to breathe. Taking the gaze over the right shoulder. Big inhale, expand. on the exhale, palms to the mat. Begin to shift backwards out of the lunge, extending the right leg now. Moving into Ardha Hanuman, or half split. We've got that the left knee is bent underneath us. The right leg is extended, pointing the toes, the right toes to the ceiling. Don't sit all the way back on the left heel. Just hover over that left heel as we extend the right hamstring. And breathe. 1 minute here. Seconds. Soften. And on the next inhale, shift forward again, enough to tuck the right knee back underneath you, and then shift all the way back. Find your child's pose again. Taking the knees wide, toes touch. Inhale deeply. On the exhale, rise up. And then shifting the knees underneath you. Shift that left leg forward now. We're coming into the same sequence, but on the second side now. So I'm coming into half saddle with the left leg extended. The right knee is tucked back. So if this is okay to sit directly on the floor, sit directly on the floor. Again, if you need height under your sits bones, with a block or a cushion, take that. And then scoot a little bit forward so you can then push your pillows back behind you. So we're going to do an extended half saddle, a reclined half saddle. So once you're ready, once you've achieved the shape that works for your body today, just begin to relax back onto the pillows. And I say relax, it might not feel that great, at least at first. There might be some significant discomfort here. Once again, we're practicing sitting with that discomfort, allowing it to be just as it is, and inviting release by allowing it to happen. So just breathe. We'll be here for about 1 more minute. Feeling the extension of the right hip flexor now, compression of the right knee. Softening the belly, softening the jaw. And you might notice that this side feels quite a bit different than the first side. That's pretty normal. It's pretty normal for us to have asymmetries in our body, but it's very good to become aware of them. Prevent injury, to know where you might need to do a little bit more work in the future. For now, let all those stories go. And just experience the sensation. A few more seconds. expansive inhale. And on the exhale, rolling off to your left elbow now, easing your way back up out of that back bend. And then once again, we're going to shift those pillows off to the side so we can make way for our dragon. And then begin to move forward into a lunge. Now extending the right leg back, taking the hands to the inside of the left foot. And staying lifted on palms at first, or if you're already ready to bow into it, to lower to your elbows, go ahead and do so, or just stay lifted. I'm going to stay lifted today because I'm already feeling a great deal of sensation in my right hip flexor, feeling that rush of new blood and new oxygen to the knee, and making sure that my toes are pointed in the same direction as my knee, so I'm not putting undue pressure on that knee joint. And pausing here in your dragon lunge. Be here for one more minute. If you'd like to stay in your normal dragon, in your lifted dragon, or your folded dragon, that's great. Or you can take the twisted variation, where you take your left hand to the left knee, and then look over that left shoulder. Getting a little bit of a twist for your spine, maybe deepening the length on the right hip flexor. And breathe. Big, expansive inhale. On the exhale, if you're in your twisted dragon, lower that left palm back to the mat. And then just begin to shift the hips backwards out of the lunge. Again, finding Ardha Hanuman, or half split on the second side. And once again, we're not dropping all the way to our heel. We're staying lifted and feeling the passive motion of the heel, imagining the heel dragging backwards on the mat to lengthen the hamstring and the back side of the left leg. Little counter pose. And just breathe about 30 seconds here. Inhale, and on the exhale, just slide that left foot back. You can just sit on your mat. We're now going to take a reclined position. So come to lie flat on your back on your mat. And we are going to take my favorite reclined posture in yin practice. My favorite name of any posture is called Bananasana. We're going to reach our fingertips overhead and shift both our hands and our feet off to the right side. So making a little banana shape with your body. Getting a passive stretch through the left side body by moving our hands and feet, our arms and legs slightly off to the right side of our mat. the side body. Inhale to walk the hands and feet back through center. And then taking them off to the other side now. Moving the hands and feet to the left side of the mat. And a passive stretch to the right side body. And now on the next inhale, walking the hands and feet back to center, lowering the arms down. I'm going to shift to bring the soles of the feet to the mat. And then lift the right ankle, cross the right ankle on top of the left knee. And we're going to thread our hands through the eye of the needle there. So right hand comes through the hole. We're going to clasp both hands right behind the left knee. And then drawing that left knee gently towards the chest. Soften the feet. Sending breath into the right hip. And keep breathing there. Hold for about 20 more seconds. And big deep inhale. And on an exhale, lower the left sole of the foot back to the mat and then cross that right knee on top of the left knee. And from this sort of modified eagle legs position, we're just going to allow the knees to fall to the left side. And if you've got a pillow handy, maybe one that you just laid on, you might want to rest your knees on that pillow. Or you can allow the knees to fall all the way to the ground. Extending the right arm out to a T if that's in your capacity today. If that feels too intense, you can cross both arms over the body and just lay on the left side. But if you can get the twist in the spine, extend that right arm. Allow the gaze to fall over the right shoulder. And just breathe here. Eagle leg twist. Deep inhale. We exhale, roll back to the spine. Unhook the right knee from the left. And then lift the left ankle, cross the left ankle on top of the right knee this time. And then inhale to thread the left hand through the whole, clasping both hands behind that right knee. And then gently drawing the right knee towards the chest. Staying passive with this, using just enough active energy to hold the shape, to get the stretch. Let the feet go. Let the face go. I'm just holding here for about a minute more. And just breathe. Deep inhale, expand through the chest, send the breath to the hips. And then on the exhale, lower the sole of the right foot back to the mat, crossing the left knee over top of the right. And then moving your pillow, if you used the pillow on the first side, just move that pillow off to the right now as you allow your knees to drop off to the right, staying in that eagle cross-legged position. And now extending the left arm out to a T. The right hand can rest on the left knee in the twist. And then if you can, turn the gaze so that it's over the left shoulder. So you're getting that twist in this reclined posture. And breathe. Soften. Melting into stillness. A few more breaths here. Big, expansive inhale. And on the exhale, just roll back to your spine. Unhook the knees. Draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. You can rock side to side, rolling the full length of the spine to make contact with the mat. Maybe massaging the sacrum. And then one final posture. We'll reach up and grab the outer edges of both feet. If that's too difficult or not in your capacity today, just grabbing the ankles or the shins and allowing the knees to fall open. If you've clasped the feet, you can take them wide and find your happy baby. So a couple of variations. You can go into full happy baby with the heels reaching for the sky, Knees are drawing down to the mat, or you can lower the feet, just grab the ankles and have this sort of reclined floating butterfly. Sending the breath down into the pelvis. And on the exhale, lower the feet, extend the legs. You can find your Shavasana posture now, whatever that is for you today, whether it's regular corpse pose, or if you want to take legs up the wall. It's always a nice grounding, restorative posture. Just make your way into your position of surrender. Your final posture where you get to release everything. And take the arms and legs wide. And just settle into the breath. Allow the eyes to close. And now is when you get to let it all go. Knowing that this stillness, this doing nothingness, is just as important as the rest of it. It's your opportunity to integrate the thoughts and the feelings and the sensations, everything that we've just experienced over the last hour, into this one moment of release. Of letting go. Soften the eyes, soften the forehead, let go of the root of the tongue, let it fall away from the roof of the mouth. Tuck the shoulder blades up underneath you. And now feel the body soften, liquid, melting into the earth. And I really encourage you to lay here in this Shavasana position for at least 5 minutes. 10 is better. 15 is delicious. As I leave you today in Shavasana, I'm going to leave you with final contemplation as usual. I'm going to provide a quote from David White's Consolations. I quoted from this book last week as well. It's a beautiful book. Reality met on its own terms demands absolute presence, an absolute giving away. an ability to live on equal terms, the fleeting and the eternal, the hardly touchable and the fully possible, a full bodily appearance and disappearance, arrested giving in and giving up, another identity, braver, more generous, and more here than the one looking hungrily for the easy, unearned answer. And as you move into your week, I encourage us all to take time to notice these urges to control what's happening, as well as the negative storytelling, the not enoughness. It's hard to see the good and let alone feel even the fleeting moments of contentment when you're spending a ton of mental energy knocking yourself or others down, or spinning out with fear or problem solving. So let us all endeavor to shed our distorted lenses, beliefs, tendencies, and invite more ease and surrender in this practice of Santosha, contentment. Thank you all for joining me in Mobility Lab today. As always, it's my pleasure to guide you through this practice, and I'll see you again next week. Adios.